First rat of the trip.
Welcome back to our channel. I'm Ryan.
I'm Charlie.
What do we do now?
I don't know. Today we're going to be talking about some travels we recently went on because there is nothing better to do when you're planning a big wedding than to leave the country for a month.
I don't know how I got talked into this because this is a big trip.
The thing you got to know about me is that I'm a trip extender. I would say I'm a professional trip extender.
Yeah, I get bamboozled every time.
I'm very good at rationalizing.
You would think a European cruise would be the trip, but no. It had to be a New York experience and then a Istanbul, Turkey experience.
Well, listen to the rationalization. So if you're going over there, you might as well stay longer, right?
Oh yeah.
Totally. And I used to live in New York, so I got people to stay with there. And flights were cheaper out of JFK. So I just kind of, I bamboozled you. But it was fun, wasn't it?
Oh, it was really fun. Yeah.
Let's get into it.
So we had a few interesting things that we did in New York.
Well, these days I like doing things with friends that I never got to do while I was in the city, like the Met Cloisters.
Yeah, so it's called the Met Cloisters. And
Ryan loves saying cloisters. He thought it was so funny.
It just sounds so silly.
Cloister, what's a cloister? Don't think about it too much.
So it's this really, really cool museum atop this rocky hill, and it's like right next to the river.
Look, we're on a hike. We're in the mountains. Just kidding. Could be though. Who knew? This was in New York. Called the Cloisters. What a name. Caitlin, I know you had something to do with this.
I did. I lived here 6 years and I've never gone, so I'm dragging you to come. No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We're going to the Cloisters. We've entered a castle. Oh, there's a bee.
That's a bumblebee. Don't touch it. You're gonna get stung.
This is the cloisters. The cloister is an indoor-outdoor monastic hallway. One side wall, one side colonnade.
I can't point. This one and this one, they're both very into history.
We're just here for the vibes.
We're here for the vibes. I'm just making dirty jokes the whole time.
It was beautiful, despite the name.
We also went to that really cool cathedral on 110th.
Oh yeah.
I think that was actually one of my favorite cathedrals I've ever been in.
It was amazing.
It was like modernized, like it was an old cathedral, but they just like, they had all the chapels were related to some sort of cause.
Yeah.
Whether it was like refugee cause or certain like countries, or they had like a memorial for the like nurses who helped during the AIDS epidemic. It was really fascinating.
Yeah, it was cool. It was also nice because it was lit up for Pride Month too.
Yeah.
So
it was like the marriage of religion and society in such an interesting way I'd never seen before. They were really cool art pieces. And we saw JoJo.
we did see JoJo.
JoJo, like Too Little Too Late, Get Out, Leave, JoJo. Like the JoJo who wrote my childhood.
JoJo.
We got like rush tickets to see Moulin Rouge. Had no idea that JoJo was playing the lead that night.
Yeah.
And so she walks out and I was like, Ryan.
We're both big JoJo fans, and so.
And we got to meet her.
Yeah, we were those losers.
We're the groupies. We're not losers. It's cool.
losers.
We stayed after for like 40 minutes and I'm like, Ryan, we're not leaving until she comes out. And she came out and we talked to her. I said the most embarrassing thing to her. I'm not gonna repeat what it was on the internet. But she was like, oh, thanks. And I was like, I'm sorry, I just got nervous.
That was hilarious that you like froze up and said something stupid. That was so funny.
And weirdly, I've met a lot of celebrities. I don't want to be like, oh, but I have.
How'd that go?
Usually pretty good. Like I met Tyra Banks and I kept my cool. She told me I was attractive, okay?
Yeah, she has to say that.
I said, no, Tyra, you are. Yeah, I got a little starstruck around JoJo, just because like Too Little Too Late is one of the best songs in the world. It's just a little too late. Sing it. You're a better singer than
I'm
me.
not singing it.
I told you he's a singer.
It was great. It was a fun show. I'm trying to think like other highlights that we had during the show.
It was just a good trip.
It was really, really fun because we actually got to be there with friends.
Then we went to a birthday party.
We were wandering the lonely streets of New York, and OMG, look who we ran into.
Picked up the riffraff off the street. You guys did, not us.
Oh, no, we couldn't afford to eat, so Susan decided to take us out. Broadway show, babes.
We got to hang out with Emery too. She's amazing. She just made the Rockettes. She like went to New York to like fulfill her dance career. Now she's a Rockette.
So you are grateful that I extended the trip.
I had fun in New York.
Did you have fun in Istanbul?
Yeah,
that was our next
actually that
stop.
was the highlight of the trip.
I found this flight and I was like, Ryan, it's cheap and I've been to Istanbul a couple times before. It's my favorite city in the world. And so we took this weird flight that had a 37-hour layover in Istanbul, Turkey. And we did everything.
We didn't do a traditional Turkish bath.
Yeah, we did almost everything. Well, we replaced it with the suit debacle,
That's true.
which we'll share in a second. But we walked 27 miles in 37 hours, which isn't as many as I did the day of my marathon. So if you wanna go for gold, we're gonna have to hit it a little bit harder next time.
Couldn't care less about gold. The sights were gorgeous. It's funny, Charlie always gets mad at me because we'll go to these places.
Doesn't know anything.
And I don't look up anything before we go. Like I literally just showed up in Turkey. I was like, so I guess this is what it is. It's kind of nice too because I didn't have any expectations. I didn't know what the landscape looked like. I didn't know what the city looked like.
I can't imagine.
Turkey. Jump in a cab. I have no idea where we're going, but luckily he does.
I've been here before. You know, the other day someone made fun of me for being a passenger princess because now like I just defer and let you drive all the time. But like you are the most passenger princess on a trip. I'm just like, all right, now I'm whisking you away to here and you're gonna love it and it's the best thing.
See, for me, like travel planning is my worst nightmare.
It's my favorite thing.
Like I hate it.
It's amazing.
I hate it.
It's the possibilities of where you can go.
I don't want to plan it.
And then like bringing it to fruition. Actually, the first thing we did in Istanbul was surprising and not on the itinerary at all because we got there and it's like known for textiles and clothing. We have this vision of what we want our tuxedos to be for our wedding. I was like, Ryan, what if we just take a couple hours this morning and try to get a custom tuxedo here because we'd priced it out in Salt Lake City where we live and it was a lot.
Yeah, it was really expensive.
than that.
Yeah, we spent a few hours running around, going to different places, and anyway, we like filmed it. So.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Istanbul.
this is the third take?
It is the third take. This morning, the plan was to wake up and go to the Hagia Sophia, the cistern, the Blue Mosque, really see the sights.
Charlie's been here a few times, so he's gonna show me around. It's gonna be fun, but we're gonna go look at tuxedos instead because it's really cheap here.
We're like, you know what? If we're getting custom tuxedos made, might as well peruse, check it out. Okay, here we are in this tuxedo shop. We are using Google Translate to try to get our wedding tuxedos.
It's actually working pretty good.
It's like a nice place. I looked it up online. We'll see what happens.
Charlie was saying that I should be incredibly grateful and observant while I'm here because a lot of people don't get to see this kind of stuff.
Look, see that? There's just giant mosques everywhere. Anyway, we're in a taxi right now on the way to the Hagia Sophia, which for many, many years was the largest building in the world. There's like an underground cistern that we're gonna go see where they, like the Roman Empire used to get their water from. There's the Blue Mosque, which is huge. There's just, it's amazing to see like Mediterranean roofs and mosques and giant Turkish flags and the Bosphorus. Like,
Charlie's a tour guide.
I'm a tour guide.
You should get a headset. It's very epic. We are currently beneath the city in a cistern. This is where they used to store their water.
First stop was the Hagia Sophia. Some people say it Hagia Sophia. It is the most incredible building in the world. It was the biggest building in the world for so many, like hundreds of years. It's massive. And to think that it was built that long ago.
Yeah,
It's
and
an
then it's still
architectural
standing.
feat. And the marble work, everything in it is so stunning and so well preserved. I'm geeking out over, like, I'm obsessed with this building.
It was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Like if you've never been, it was wild. Like it was so, yeah.
But then like these I can't remember what it's called, but they're like cascading arches that
It's
and
not
allow
a
it to
flying
stand.
buttress.
Oh, it's amazing. You just like buttress. You just like the word buttress. Is that what this is? Wow. Anyway.
And it's flying.
I chose a bright one.
Keep going.
It's okay. I can tell you more about the building. It's
No,
incredible.
we're done. So then we went across the street to,
The Blue Mosque.
yeah.
And you should
It's
also
really
know,
cool though because it's much more bright and colorful inside.
yeah.
And it's new, so it's like the difference between like a newer construction.
There's like this big plaza with a fountain, and there's Hagia Sophia on one side, and then Blue Mosque on the other, and they're like sisters
Yeah.
that look at each other.
Cool, but honestly, one of the most impressive things that we did there was going down into the
I was
cistern.
gonna say, speaking of sisters,
And it just
cistern.
reminded me that you got scammed.
I got bamboozled. Why do I have to tell people that?
Why? He's always talking a big game about how no one can scam him traveling, because every time you go somewhere, there are people that are always trying to like get you to buy something that you don't need, or like trying to trick you into paying for something that's overpriced.
I've become a scrappy traveler, and I've become a pretty savvy traveler.
Yeah.
I believe.
Who's the one who caught it?
You were.
Yep.
Last
Who's
time,
not very bright now?
Yeah, last time I went, like there wasn't as many like COVID restrictions as far as like signing up for times, like time to entry for things. I was thinking we could just walk into the cistern as we always have, which by the way, this is an underground like water cistern. It's amazing. If the Hagia Sophia is my favorite building in the world, this is my favorite like
Cistern.
not a building. It's the best cistern ever.
Yeah.
And it holds the city up. The whole city is
city
sitting on
is
this
built on top of it,
cistern.
yeah.
It's amazing. There was a huge line. And at this point, I'm getting stressed because we had 37 hours and I had a list of things that Ryan was going to see over my dead body. If we waited in the line, we would have been like 2.5 hours behind.
Yeah.
And so this guy was like, hey, do you want to take this tour? It's this many lira. And Turkish lira is really low and the exchange rate is really good. And I was like, oh, this is only like 15 bucks. And he said he could get us to the front of the line. And I was like, perfect, let's do it. So we go. I actually really enjoyed the tour. He knew a lot of things, and I'd been to the cistern 4 times.
Yeah.
One time I went there twice because I just love it so much. It's so cool down there. Loved the tour. And then he's like, I could take you to Topkapi Palace next. It's only this much money. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a steal. Like, let's go. And Ryan's like,
I'm like, this is too good to be true. I looked down at the pamphlet. It's not in Turkish lira. It's in euros.
in euros.
Which is like 200 euros.
Which means
The exchange rate is not good right now.
and as he said this, I was like, oh my gosh, I just spent like $200 on that
Like
tour.
250 bucks on that tour.
It was awful.
I had mentioned that he could have had 2 different pamphlets if
I think
was
he
doing
showed
it
us
on
one that was in
purpose.
lira, and then when we paid, he was showing us the same one,
He
but it
might
was in
have.
euro. And then
Yeah.
obviously I didn't have that much cash, and then we had to go
Yeah,
to the ATM.
and then he just like conveniently was like, oh, well, that's fine. There's some ATMs right over here, so you can
Yeah.
pay me my 200
Anyway.
euros.
I was embarrassed. I don't know if I regret it because it did put us back on schedule, but it was a hefty sum of money. I'd pay anything to see the cistern, but I wouldn't wait in line for an hour and a half. After that, we went to Topkapi Palace, and I actually hadn't been there. There was a long line. It was hot. Remember standing in that line?
Yeah.
You were getting grouchy.
I was hungry.
If you ever travel with this man, just snacks, 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 snacks. You are a snack, and you eat snacks, unless you get grouchy.
Yep.
What do you remember from the palace?
I remember it being
Describe it in one word.
ornate.
Ornate, that was my word. Pick a new one.
I already
Yes, you
said it.
first. Ornamental.
It was just every like piece, every building was designed to the max. It was just so intricate.
Ryan, what do you think of the Sultan's library? Shh, there's people reading. It makes me want to read a book. There he is. He's reading the 5th Harry Potter. OMG. He's never gonna guess what happens. If this was on House Hunters, would you buy it?
It's a little gaudy for my taste.
We're here at the Imperial Council. There's a couple things we need to bring before the board.
Yeah, just a few.
It was like gemstone maximalist.
Yeah, just
Gold.
the stonework, the paint,
It was almost overwhelming.
it was
To
a
be in
lot. Yeah.
Like even like the swords, the museum, the swords were like jewel encrusted with 200,000 precious stones. And I was like, wow, this is a lot.
Honestly, the coolest part to me was when we got to go back in
The harem?
the harem. Very cool. It was where like the Sultan's
Like wife and concubines lived.
and his mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like this little village.
It was like its own city.
It's this hidden like village inside the palace, but
windy
you can't.
cobblestone streets.
There's like a staircase that you go down back behind to go get to it, and then it just opens up into like.
It's where they had all the baths and the like marble rooms with big echoes. So it was really interesting.
Yeah.
And then we went to the Grand Bazaar. That was a big day.
Oh yeah,
That was a
you're
huge
right.
day. And it's exactly
It's
what
like
you
winding
think.
in and out, and you're just getting heckled the whole time. And we're like walking through there.
Well, it's this.
I'm white and I have blonde hair. And so we're walking through there and they're like, hey sir, buy this, buy this. Charlie kept messing with me the whole time and messing with the people who work there. And if you ever say something like buy
Or want.
or want, then they're all like listening.
So we like walked by and I was like, I just really want a rug. I want to purchase a rug.
And then
everyone
like 20 guys pop out of the woodwork.
and then I would just slip away so Ryan has to deal with them. There is some amazing things to buy there. And it's like this cultural experience. So you barter.
Like you could buy a real Prada. We were walking by this shop and I noticed that there was a little BYU.
It said I Heart Mormons, BYU,
And there's
gay
a BYU
pride.
cougar and then there's a pride flag. And I'm like,
And we're like, oh, is this my shop? So we went in and talked with a guy, and it was just really funny to hear his connections to both. And he does like CTR rings for the church, but he's also gay, and he like splits time in New York. And he's like, do you know this city? And it's the city where Ryan was born in. Yeah.
is there something else you need to pick out?
Then we had another really great meal that night. Lots of hummus, lots of kebabs. And then the next morning we went back at it again, looking for suits actually.
It's not looking good. Turns out, when you look like us, they think you're American prices. I wonder why Blondie and Goldilocks.
We never pulled the trigger.
We didn't.
You were worried about the risk.
Well, it
'Cause
was
we
the
couldn't
risk
be
because
there
we were
long
gonna
enough.
have to pay for it and then we were gonna have to ship it back and we didn't know if it would get there in time.
Well, and we just had to trust that it was custom made to us, and we wouldn't have had to tailor it again because they were all like hand stitched.
Yeah.
First thing we did in the morning, I think, was the Bosphorus boat tour, which made up for me feeling bamboozled because that boat tour, do you know how much it cost?
I don't remember.
$3 United States dollars each.
Wow, really?
That whole tour. It was like a 2-hour boat tour of the Bosphorus, which is like the canal that connects the Black Sea with the Marmara Sea, I think is it called. Boat tour of the Bosphorus. Coming right up.
So pretty. Describe it in one word. Exotic. Wow, didn't see that coming.
But
It was pretty.
it was so pretty. You go past all the palaces and mosques and these bridges, like the Martyrs Bridge.
Like I said, I didn't have any concept for what the landscape looked like. So we're going down the Bosphorus on this boat and there's these massive flagpoles with these huge Turkish flags that are just flapping in the wind, and it's just like,
It made it feel.
it was really iconic.
We got in trouble because we stood in a nice shady spot on the boat, but we weren't supposed to be back there. We went to Shirgan Palace, which was really incredible.
We just did an impromptu photo shoot.
Is anybody surprised?
Charlie's idea, of course, but I willingly participated. It's always nice to have a good photographer on hand.
I wish I had a good photographer on hand.
I think I did good. Honestly, your photos turned out better than mine.
Just that pretty.
You're so toxic. So Charlie's telling me that this is an old palace that has been converted into an event center. It's right on the water, inside of this super fancy hotel.
Then we went to Ortaköy Mosque. It's also massive, but compared to the other ones, it's like more manageable. But it's a place where people like actually are going to pray and like.
Right.
It
felt more reverent.
It felt more reverent. That's a really good way to put it. We knew he needed a snack before the airplane, so
I get so hangry.
so we ended the day with a baklava and Turkish delight. Our final order of business, once the truck passes, is to eat baklava and rice pudding and juice and Turkish delight. Ryan, you're so tired.
I'm so
Look
tired.
at your, just smile. There you go, there he is, there he is. And from there, we hopped on a super sketchy flight.
It was the European
don't know.
version of Spirit.
It was worse than that, but we made it to Rome, which is where our trip technically begins.
Yes.
So if you want to hear all about that trip, meeting with our friends and trying to go on a cruise while trying to plan our wedding at the same time and the stress that ensued, that's coming up in the next video. So
There's no service on a cruise ship, so planning a wedding is.
we still have a lot to do. So yeah, stay on top of all this. We'd love if you could subscribe, like this video, and especially we'd love to hear what you think in the comments and what you want to see more of. If you want to like, what questions you want us to answer, things to like tackle on this channel, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Turn your notifications on so you know when the next video comes. Until next time. See ya.